evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, tragedy in Dekwa, Borno State as suicide bombers attack village, killing 51 people and injuring 70 others. Chief Justice of Nigeria takes a swipe at critics of recent Supreme Court judgments, describes them as misguided and ignorant. Students of Yaba College of Technology protest the death of their colleague, alleged neglect by school authorities. And 3 British travelers diagnosed with Zika virus disease after visiting Colombia, Suriname and Guyana.
And on business news tonight, Naira weakens at the parallel market on strong dollar demand by importers.
And in sports news, national junior tennis coach Mohammed Ubali believes the future of the sport in Nigeria is looking great.
I'm Linda Kibe, and from Abuja, Imo State government bows to NLC pressure, recalls sacked workers.
We begin tonight with word that 51 people have been killed following an attack by suspected Boko Haram militants in Dekwa, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. Witnesses say 2 suicide bombers infiltrated the village where some internally displaced persons had gathered for breakfast and detonated the explosives. Although the figure of those killed has not been officially confirmed, the Borno State Emergency Management Agency told Channels Television that over 70 people who were injured in the attack are receiving treatment in hospital in Maiduguri, the capital. The attack was said to have been carried out yesterday, but news about the incident was not made public due to the remote location of the area. Dekwa, which is 80 kilometers from Maiduguri, was once occupied by the Boko Haram terrorists, but was declared liberated by the Nigerian army last year. This attack comes barely 2 weeks after a similar one in Daluri, which left over 60 persons dead.
They came in from a town nearby called Boboshe. According to the one that arrested live, she confessed, and she even hints the military there were 3 coming because she feels that her parents are in the camp. That's why she refused to detonate her own bomb. I think she's with the military now and she's giving information. And here, as we came in the State Specialist Hospital, you can see majority of the casualties are children and women, and they are responding for treatment. There's a no network here and communication preparation to respond, so it took us a while before we responded. But thank God we can be able to at least brought about 78 injured here. Yes.
And this just in, the federal government has asked security agencies to immediately deploy formidable security in and around IDP camps in the country. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, today gave the directive after the attack on an IDP camp in Dekwa, Borno State. He asked that security be beefed up and renewed measures put in place to guard against future occurrences. The Vice President condemned this suicide attack and condoles with victims, but has assured the nation that the full weight of the federal government's force will be deployed to hunt down the perpetrators of the evil act. Professor Shibajo assures Nigerians of the resolve of the federal government to confront terrorists continuously in the protection of life, liberty and property of all Nigerians, and promises that there will be no hiding place for terrorists. It's another tragic story in Nigeria's border town with Cameroon as 2 suicide bombers detonated their improvised explosive devices, killing 6 people and leaving 30 others injured. The Cameroonian officials told reporters that both bombers are females and that they struck at a funeral waykeep in the village of Ngwetre, which lies a few kilometers from the Nigerian border. The villagers had gathered for the funeral when the suicide bombers joined them, pretending to be family members. Where they had settled in for the ceremony, they detonated the bombs. Several children are said to have been wounded in the attack, and they've been hospitalized. Away from security issues, we're staying with security. A British government says it will increase its military and educational aid to Nigeria to tackle Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast. The British government has also promised to provide £6.7 million as humanitarian support for the rehabilitation of people forced to flee their homes. British Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Baroness Anale, said this in an interview with Channels Television in Kaduna State.
Nigeria is an important country, one where it has long friendship with us, and we want to be able to work with President Buhari on his reforming programme to ensure that Nigeria enjoys a peaceful and prosperous future. That's right, the Prime Minister appointed me his special representative to work on preventing sexual violence and conflict, and where it happens, to provide projects that can help the victims, and that's why I'm here too, to ensure that we can provide funding for projects to help those who have suffered from violence at the hands of Boko Haram, but also to be able to provide training for those who are in the Nigerian armed forces who face Boko Haram, who are going to meet the victims of violence. And today I've already seen the results of that. I've seen training being provided by British armed forces to Nigerians who are about to go and bravely face Boko Haram. I met the organisation Bring Back Our Girls, and they are an example of the passion that people feel about the appalling atrocities committed by Boko Haram. I salute them, I salute the work they do.
Chief Justice Mahmoud Mohammed has berated those criticizing the Nigerian judiciary. According to the Chief Justice, such allegations were made without due consideration of the law and the system of government in the country. He said the judiciary is duty-bound to act and will continue to act in accordance with the dictates of the law. The Chief Justice said this at a special valedictory session in honor of Justice Mahmoud Kumasi, who is retiring from the judiciary after 38 years of service.
Friends, family, former colleagues and members of the bar and the bench at a special valedictory session in honor of Justice Mahmoud Kumasi, who is retiring from the judiciary after 38 years of service.
A profound gratitude to your Lordship.
As it is common with events of this nature, praises and eulogies were showered on the retiring jurist, but each speaker used the opportunity to talk on the challenges facing the judiciary today, starting with the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
The Nigerian judiciary, thou constantly striving to redress wrongs and tilt the balance in favor of that which is right, has recently had to face the backlash of misguided opinions. The judiciary is duty-bound to act in accordance with the dictates of the law as it stands, and not as our critics would like it to be.
Lending his voice, the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Augustine Alege, condemned in strong terms what he termed a deliberate attempt to disparage the judiciary.
Whilst acknowledging that there will be a few bad eggs in the system, we restate unequivocally that categorization of the entire judiciary as corrupt is a misconception, and we stand solidly behind the judiciary in any attempt to intimidate or harass its personnel.
Besides calling for the recognition of the CJN as the number 4 citizen at all public functions, the celebrant Justice Mahmoud Kumasi made other recommendations.
There should be amendment of the Constitution to stop interlocutory appeals from coming to the Supreme Court. It should be ended at the Court of Appeal. The number of Supreme Court justices should also be increased from the present 17 to the constitutionally approved 21.
He is also asking the executive at all levels to hands off the finances of the Nigerian judiciary. Amaka Okafo, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal will tomorrow, February 11th, deliver judgment on the case of impeachment of former governor of Adamawa State, Mr. Murtala Nyako. Following his impeachment by the Amadu Umaru-led House of Assembly, Mr. Nyako filed a suit to reclaim his mandate, claiming that he was wrongly impeached, describing the process as unconstitutional. The former governor was sacked after the lawmakers deliberated on a report submitted by an investigative panel that probed allegations of financial misconduct. In part two, after the break, students of Yaba College of Technology take to the streets of Lagos over the death of their colleague. Please join us again.